Hey, good morning, everybody. Very, very important day today because the SPY is pressing certain levels. So I want to talk about the SPY, which is basically the S&P, which is basically the market. I'm going to go on Discord later, and I'm going to show you where I come up with these certain levels. So please, you can join our Discord if you'd like for 7 free days. You just have to look below. But yesterday I mentioned for 1, 2, 3 straight days, we were seeing consolidation in the market. And the high level on the market, as far as the SPY, was 399 to 400. The low level, which I mentioned we might see yesterday, was 393 to 394. So where did we close yesterday? Well, we touched 394.79 yesterday, and we closed at 395. So again, for 4 straight days, the bottom level has not been breached. All right, 393 on Friday, 394 on Monday, 394 on Tuesday, 394 yesterday. Do you guys see what's happening? It's called consolidation. Now, what's going to happen is when the market consolidates, if today's a red day and futures are saying it looks kind of red, so I'm going to give you the most obvious case scenario right now. If we break under the 393 level, which has been support for 4 straight days, we are going down. Understand, the Thursday before, we went from 385 on the low to 394 on the high. So if 394 starts rejecting, it's possible the downside could be 385. It's extremely clear. So again, bear case scenario in this market, the SPY will touch 395. So as we sit pre-market, we're at 391.63. I will bring up the chart. You know what? Why don't I bring up the chart to show you? It makes more sense. I'm just going to give you the whole chart. We don't even need to see me. Okay, so let's go to the 2 hour just so we can see exactly what I'm talking about. Again, here we were right at 385, which is where I'm saying we could possibly go back down to. Okay, we gapped up. We're at 388. I need a smaller chart for this. Let's go to, let's try a 45-minute chart. Yeah, that's a little better. Again, so you can see, here we are, 388. That's going to be a key level, okay? So right now we're sitting at 391 pre-market. If we break the 388, which could act as support, we're next going to go to where is it? 385. Where's 385? Right here, this level right here, which is what we gapped up from, okay? So it makes sense. So again, I'm going to tell you the levels. You can write them down, okay? On the top side, and I'm going to share why. So let me actually share why. Let me remove this and let me stop sharing. Let me add another screen here. And I'm going to show you exactly where these levels come from. It's really important that you guys see what I'm talking about here. StreamYard, add to stream. Okay, and let's blow it up nice and big. And I'll make it even larger if you give me 1 second. Discord, here we go. Okay, so when you're blowing this up, what can you see? This is dark pool levels for the SPY. So you can see a major level right here at 397. So when I was suggesting to everybody that the SPY was going to reject 397, you knew that because over 50% of the trades that happen on our market happen on the dark pool. So if they're trading $23.47 billion worth of SPY at 397, then the next level, oh shoot, there it is, 393, exactly where we're sitting this morning. Now, as you can see, the dark pool level's a lot smaller. It's like 45% of what it was at 397. So then if we break that, which we are lower than that this morning, you're looking at the next level down, which is 389. Okay, it's right there on the left, right here where my cursor is. And then I mentioned 385 is the next major level of support. And here you can see it, even more volume than at the 397 rejection level. Okay, so hopefully that's extremely clear. But these are ways that you use Discord. You need to follow big money. If you're not on my Discord and you get 7 free days, if you want to sign up, you should be following someone else because you get to type in whatever searches you want. There's a whole explanation. So I like to look at dark pool levels because over 50% of whatever stock you're into is traded on the dark pool. So you don't even see the transactions. Now, the reason people trade on the dark pool is so that they do not affect the price. Say you're buying 100,000 shares of Tesla. If you bought that in the open market as a normal day trade and you broke it up into 25,000 shares here, people would notice the support levels and they would be like, okay, someone's buying Tesla. So when they buy it in the dark pool or sell it in the dark pool, nobody knows your intentions. And let's remember, It is the institutions versus us, the retail traders. The dark pool was created to hide trades, all right? They'll say it's not to affect the stock price, but it's definitely to manipulate a stock price. Let's say you had a bunch of put options on the SPY, millions and millions of dollars, and then you bought dark pool SPY ETF shares, right? And then you were unloading the shares, forcing the SPY down, making your puts more profitable. Again, complete manipulation out there. All right, so again, SPY levels, 397, which I pointed out using our Discord dark pool level. 397, major rejection, major. Next level down, 393. It's right there for you to see. Now, as we open pre-market and we're sitting at, let's see where we're sitting at right now, 391 flat, okay? Understand, we've already broke the 393. So what could potentially happen, okay? At market open, I'm going to give you a bull case scenario first. Bull case scenario is we open at 391 where we are now. We're going to break 390 on the way down. Then you're going to see the first line of support, maybe 389.75, and it could bounce hard off there back to 391, 392. If they're going to buy the markets today, that is what we can see. And then we can see small steps higher. And then we might see sell-offs like we saw yesterday. Again, the sell-offs yesterday, the one that happened at 1:30 p.m. all the way to 2:30 p.m. caught me off guard. All right. I'm going to talk about my trades real quick to talk about strategy. Okay. I was in NVIDIA puts going into earnings for a day and a half now. What happened when NVIDIA broke 160 on the way down? I got in at 168. When it broke 160 on the way down, even before earnings, I got out. Now, it did go down a whole nother $1, but again, I secured profit. At the same time, yesterday morning, when I was selling my NVIDIA puts, I was buying SPY calls. I made profit on the first run up. Let me just see. It's too much to add it. I have to move Discord. But the point is, SPY went up like this. I sold. It dipped back down. I bought. It went up even higher. I sold. It dipped back down. I bought. It went up higher. And instead of selling there, I got greedy and I actually screenshotted it and I sent it to my Discord and I was like, oh my God, look how good this is getting. What I should have done is I should have sold my third position. So I got stuck in a third position. I made $800, $1,200. NVIDIA, I made $1,500. And then what did I do in my SPY third position? I lost $1,600 in it. I didn't cut my losses when I realized I was going to be wrong because I was looking for the bounce. So this is an important lesson because so many of you traders out there look for the bounce. You're like, oh, it's going the wrong way. It's going against me. Tell you what I'm going to do. When it bounces up on the first bounce, I'm going to get out and I will limit my loss. Now, it works sometimes, but it did not work for me yesterday because here's what happened. It went down. It didn't bounce. It went down harder. It didn't bounce. And when it finally bounced and I got 20% more, I was still down 20% on my third position, right? So I still had to get out of that. Okay, so that's the lesson there. Don't always expect a bounce. Play your strategy. Talk about my strategy from the day before. Coin puts, TQQQ puts, I took profit. Now that was me zooming in saying I don't want to be that long in a trade. However, looking at coin today, $54 puts, coins at what? $44, $45, those would be $900. I got in at $2. I got out at $2.60. They were $3.60 later. 2 days later, they're $9. So sometimes it makes sense to hold on to certain positions. Okay, as far as what I'm feeling today, again, I believe, and I can't stress this enough, and please ask questions on the side if you have. But again, if we break the level, which we've already broken of 393, okay, I'm going to look to see if there's support just under 390. Let's say 389.50. At that time, I will make a decision. If I do not see the support and I think we're going down lower, then I will wait for the SPY to move up and I will buy puts, assuming the SPY is going to 385 either today, tomorrow, Monday, something like that. Make sure you give yourself enough time to be correct because consolidation means one of two things. The market's either going to break out higher or break down lower. Again, we consolidated right at the 394 level. So you're looking at futures and you're like, well, futures are off. We're definitely going down more. Do not make any assumptions until the market's open. When your market's open, and again, my trading tends to trade better as far as my results go later in the afternoon, anywhere from 11 o'clock on. When I trade before 11 o'clock, I try and get in and out and make a quick scalp. All right. And I never use a large sum of my money because what we see when the market opens is extreme volatility. That's why you pay more for your options, whether it's the bid or the spread that you're looking for. It's usually a wide margin, and you're paying more because the volatility is like boom, boom, down, up, something to that extent. Okay, I've got some stocks that I wanted to mention just to help you guys understand or to show you what I look at during the day. And again, the SPY is back down. It just looked like it was rebounding a little, and then it dropped back down to 390. So what's likely to happen is we're probably going to see 389.50 on market open. Now, whether it bounces off 389.50 or not, that's, to be seen. I won't make a judgment call before. If it doesn't bounce, we're going to 385 at some point in the next 1, 2, 3 days, and it might happen today. Again, I don't control the market. Or if we're consolidating, we could see a push back up to 397, understanding 397 is rejection. So I see a bunch of questions on the side. I'm going to get to those before I speak about certain stocks. And I'm going to point out certain stocks, their movement, and what could happen in a bull case or bear case scenario. So you could be like, okay, I'll add that to my watch list. If it's a green day, Matt says this stock has the potential to go up 8%. Red day, this one can go down 6%. As long as you know what your potential strategy is, you develop, you say, okay, the market's doing this. My strategy, 2 strategies, one was this way, one was this way. Here's what I'm going to play. So I'm going to share what I'm looking at pre-market because this is a strategy session. But first, let's answer some comments and questions on the side. All right. Any thoughts on the high of the QQQ today? Okay. So I talk a lot about the SPY, but the QQQ, which is technology, runs the similar pattern. So let me see if I can just open that up on my phone. QQQ. Yeah, you don't need some great technology to look at charts. I mean, it's going to show the same pattern. I mean, here's your QQQ, okay? So what you can see is we spiked up 4 days ago, right? That was when CPI numbers came out and they were cool. We spiked up. There was inflow for 2 days, right? Now there's been outflow for 3 straight days. But what do you see? We still haven't filled that gap right there. So we potentially can fill the gap. And 385 is not a complete fill of the gap. It's close to it. So when I talk about certain price targets that stocks can go down to, so we'll talk about the QQQ, all right? QQQ, same way I speak about the SPY. If the market sells off for the next 1 or 2 days, the QQQ could go back down to a 267 level. We're at 285. So you're talking about 18 points. You're talking about like 8%. That's how much the gap up was. That's the worst case scenario. Middle case scenario, we'll see something like a 278 range, which is still another 3% down. Again, that would also be a bear case scenario. As far as today, let's go with a one day action. I mean, the movement from yesterday's close to this morning is pretty substantial. So again, if I had to guess, although I'm a bear, I could definitely see us touching 389 on the SPY, the QQQ touching like 280, what would it be like? 280 flat, I guess. Yeah, about 280 flat, 279, and then bouncing higher. So that's one strategy I have. If I'm a bull today and I'm like, they're going to buy the dip, they had 3 straight days of outflow. There was a ton of buying when CPI numbers came in weak, and they're going to support those levels. Then I'm going to say, I'm definitely going to look for QQQ to bounce at 279. I'm definitely going to look for the SPY to bounce off 389 and change and push higher, at least for today. That's a bull case scenario. Bear case scenario is we break that 389.50 level on the SPY and we potentially see 385, whether it's today or tomorrow. QQQ, same thing. Bear case scenario, we break that 380 level on the SPY and we see somewhere, 280 level on the SPY, and we see somewhere around 276 before it has support. All right, so hopefully that answers your question there. Let's move on to the next question. Oh, and again, everything I state is my opinion, all right? I worked for hedge funds. I worked for banks. I left because there was manipulation. I left because I saw them hurting the blue collar, the middle class, and I completely changed my industry. Then I came back with a pandemic and I started trading my accounts every day and I was doing great and I was like talking about it. And then I figured I need to share because again, If you understand it's us, the retail trader, versus the banks and institutions, and the banks and institutions control 90% of the money. All right. So I'm here not to pump or dump anything. I'm here to show you or tell you what I'm thinking based on my experience. All right. How do I feel about pins? So pins is a great example because I know that, Elliott Management took a position in pins. All right. Elliott Management is, they take positions when they think stocks are undervalued. So that's the hard thing about pins because they were buying 15 million shares last quarter, and now people get air of that, and they're like every time pins drops, and I see the support. Now, the good thing is I think pins is overvalued. So if the market falls below that line and the market drops and breaks it, so this is how you trade pins. If you're like, okay, I want to be a bear on pins or a bull on pins, you're watching the market. You're seeing if the Qs break the level that I mentioned, 280. If they break 280, then they're going down to 276, which is a whole nother 2% down. Meaning pins will drop 2%, pins will drop 4%. Pins is a more speculative play, so it probably doubles whatever the industry or the industry average is. So I'll explain that in a minute when I talk about certain stocks on my watch list after we finish the questions. All right, how do I feel about put covering if I have a week or left on a call? All right, so that's an interesting question. Sometimes I will do something to that extent or call covering if I'm in an opposite position. It depends how much profit I have and my strategy. Now, if I have a certain amount of profit and that's all I was looking to secure, I'll just exit the original position. However, if I want to hedge and safeguard myself, I can do something like Josh is suggesting. But again, I'm generally an all or nothing guy, which is terrible. I need to diversify better. So yeah, a strategy like that would work better. Now, an all or nothing means you're taking just one trading strategy and you're putting all of your money there. You're like, I'll buy 4 options, I'll buy 10 more, I'll buy 20 more, I'll buy 30 more. And then if it doesn't change and go in your direction, which it usually does, but if it doesn't change and we just see one of those days where it's either steps up or steps down, you will blow up your account. Anyway, next question, please. I love Palantir as well. How do you know, Davey? Davy Jones from the Monkeys, right? Yeah. So Palantir, I love. It has support at $8. However, if things are red, Palantir can go down to, I think it's $7.49 to $7.53 is a buying zone. But what would I do? Let's do it together, okay? Let me pull up Discord. Hopefully this works. Boom. Now, instead of looking at the dark pool levels on the SPY, let's look at the dark pool levels for Palantir, right? TR, we go DP, spell levels, and then Palantir. Boom. Let's see if that works. Okay, let's pull it up. Let's make sure it's on there for everybody. Okay, so let's talk about it, okay? So you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, all right? 861 was a bit of a rejection level, so that's right around here. Just under $8 has support. It's generally around 784. So you can see it's huge dark pool level at 784. However, I've noticed, I didn't know that the next level down was $7. I would have thought support's right in this range right here, which is about $7.50. But now that I see this, I'd probably look for entry in Palantir somewhere around 746, 748. If it doesn't drop to that level and the market tends to bounce, you can get in right here around 786, 784. I always like to get a couple cents less. And again, I've seen that stock in a decent market ride up to about 861, 858, 871. So on a green market, that's where I like to take profit, okay? However, it's going to move with the market. So again, we've seen 3 straight days of consolidation of outflow in the market where the SPY held 393, 394. The fact that we're opening up pre-market and we're down at what, 390.67 right now is a bit concerning. Again, you're looking at the level about $1 under here. So maybe about 389.50 on the SPY. If we break that, all right, we will likely go down much harder to about 385. However, if we see support at that level, we can easily bounce up. And where would we bounce to? So 394 acted as support for 4 straight days. Now it will likely act as resistance. The fact that we're sitting at 390 and change pre-market, if the market sells off and we go 389 and then we actually get bought up, you'll probably see it get bought up to about 394 before it faces some rejection. All right. It just makes sense. That's how you use support and resistance. So then you'd say, what would I do? I need to see what's going on in the market. Do we have any other questions? If not, I'm going to talk about a couple stocks. Oh, Moderna. Okay. Well, I can tell you, I was shouting Moderna from the hilltops when Moderna was $129, $131 a share. I think it's a lot more than that. I think it's like in the 180s now, right? 185. Okay, so anybody that wants to follow Moderna, hopefully you guys can see that. Again, it's easier if I open it, you get a bigger screen here. But what do you see? You see all those green lines with good volumes. You see earning at the bottom. So you have what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 out of the last 20 days have been inflow for Moderna, okay? So I actually think you probably missed the ride on that. Because if you're going to get invested in Moderna, you actually think it's going much higher right now, and you've already had 18 out of the past 20 days. And if the market struggles, what are people going to do? They're going to take profit. Moderna was, probably 124 20 days ago, 20 trading days ago, a month ago, and now it's up to 185. It's up 38% in the month. So then you say to me, well, can I take a bear position on that stock? Not yet, you can't. The stock is extremely strong. Now, if you look at a stock like Starbucks pressed up $99.56. And I was like, okay, Starbucks looked like Moderna. It had a ton of inflow. I was expecting some outflow, some consolidation. I think Starbucks is back down in the 97 range. I mentioned it again at $98. Let's see where Starbucks is. And people say, where'd you mention this? I mentioned it on my Discord. Closed at $97, 95 and a half this morning. How much can Starbucks consolidate? Well, it already broke through, so it can consolidate down to probably the $88 to $90 level. All right. So if the market sells off and you get it at 95.50, it could go down another 6 points, which is another 8%, which on your options is probably 80 to 100%. So I mentioned I would talk about some of my plays. All right. Any other stock questions here? Or I'll just mention some stocks. I like the way you spell NVIDIA, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. So NVIDIA, here's the interesting thing. NVIDIA, semiconductor stocks, NVIDIA, AMD, STX, Micron, Taiwan Semiconductor. Taiwan Semiconductor is a little different because that billionaire investor, Warren Buffett, bought up a whole bunch of stock. However, the chip sector, which I mentioned 2 days ago, is up 46% from its yearly low. So let's just say whatever the SOX was, which is the semiconductor index, wherever it was, it's up 46% from the low. So things are getting frothy. Now, if the market explodes and we see, and this is bull case scenario, SPY 420, SPY 440, end of the year, we have a Christmas rally, then NVIDIA will be back at $184. However, I mentioned I thought they would miss on earnings. They did not. It was more in line with expectations. I thought the stock was going to do down. I sold my puts $4 higher, 160. It closed at 159. It's at 156 this morning. What was the industry doing yesterday? They were buying up some NVIDIA. They were starting first positions. What are they going to continue to do? On any dip of NVIDIA, they're likely to buy it up. They don't go in full force. If they're going to buy $159 a share, if they're going to buy 500,000 shares for their position and take a $70 million position, they don't go in 70 million. First, they use the dark pool. But what they'll do is they'll let it go down, just had earnings. When it seems to bottom, they'll start buying up lots of 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 shares, and then they will use the dark pool level. So it's harder to see. But NVIDIA is a leader in the chip industry. They are number one. So you could definitely keep in your watch list NVIDIA underneath, Micron underneath, STX underneath, AMD, have all of them because they're tending to move together. So if you see one of the chip makers drop and then you see another chip maker drop, guess what? It's going to happen with NVIDIA and AMD as well. Sometimes people just get information or make the plays sooner in different, they don't all of a sudden sell all the chip makers at the same time. All right, so that's what I'd look at for NVIDIA. Thoughts on TQQQ and Apple? Okay, yeah. So I got a starter position in both yesterday. I was actually doing okay on Apple. Here's the thing about Apple. So my thoughts on Apple first. Apple has support at 145, okay? In fact, it blew past support on 145. It's sitting at 146 pre-market, 145.99, 146. I believe Apple will show support at 145. That's the same thing I'm thinking about the market. Again, if the SPY drops a little more open, the SPY should find support at 389. If it does not, All right, 389 for the SPY support. Same thing. Apple at open should find support at 145. If both break through, if you see Apple at 144, you're going to see the SPY at 389 flat or something to that extent. If they go even lower, 385 on the SPY, then Apple, yes, could technically go back to 140. That's another area of support. So you're at 135, 140, 145, 150. Now, in a bull case scenario, green market for the future, Apple would ride up to like 156. But that's not the case right now. Markets are struggling. But I expect Apple to find support, which is why I expect the markets to find support, which is the other reason my strategy is I'm not trading at 9:30. There's no way I'm saying today's the day that this happens or that happens. I let it play out. The market's been beaten up for 3 straight days after we spiked 2 straight days. I believe it's consolidation. And for me to make a judgment call that the market's going to break through just because of pre-market activity or that it'll find support just because I think it will and Apple will find support at 145, I'm not making that call. If Apple wants to drop to 142 today, first off, I would be out of my 2 contracts of Apple calls because I would see that happening. I'd be like, all right, you take the loss, you wait for 142. And if you want to be bullish Apple, you get it at 140 actually. If it goes to 142, then you get in at 140. But again, I'm looking for support at 145. TQQQ. Again, this one is crazy because the TQQQ, I was in $17 calls. It went up to $24. My contracts would have worth $7. I got rid of them for $2.50. I think I made 100% on those contracts. All right. Then I got into a couple of TQQQ puts. And I sold those, today is Thursday. I sold those on Tuesday for a quick scalp. Again, if I had held 2 days later, been profitable. What did I do yesterday? I flipped my position. I thought the market would rebound towards the end of the day and I might get a gap up overnight. So I have, I think, 5 or 6 contracts that I paid $76 for TQQ. I'm going to probably sell those at a loss if there's any type of spike this morning. And the loss would be like $25 a contract times 6 contracts, $150. That's why we play small ball. You never want to play big ball and you say, I got $7,000. I'm going in $7,000 worth of these contracts and you pay $1 each because once they're worth 36 cents, or let's even say they're worth 70 cents, you're down, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. You're crushing your account. But when you play 2 contracts, 4 contracts, 6 contracts, let's say you're correct and you make 100%. Great. There's another $800. You're wrong. Like me in my 3rd position yesterday. I took profit. I was wrong about a trade. I almost gave back all of my profit from yesterday. I think I made like $200 or something like that. But that's a day. That's a fine day. I'm not looking to crush it every day. I see guys that have portfolios that are trading $500,000 worth of SPY contracts. Not me. Doesn't make sense. You know why? They have a bad contract. They're out. So yes, Micron, same thing. You want to follow not necessarily STX, but you want to follow AMD. You want to follow NVIDIA. Micron gets manipulated at times. When it's good, when Micron is going green and having a green day, instead of being up 1.5%, it's going to be up 4%. It's the same thing when Micron is having a bad day. And we've played calls and puts. If you're with me on Micron, I played both sides. But if you're having a bad day on Micron and it spiked at probably $63 or $64, volume's pretty substantial. Again, the sell-off on Micron yesterday could have been in anticipation of NVIDIA earnings. Same thing, AMD, some downward pressure. So yes, I would be watching the whole semiconductor industry because if they decide that they want to start buying up NVIDIA, they're going to buy up all of them. NVIDIA, Micron, AMD, STX, Taiwan Semiconductor. We saw Buffett already start buying up Taiwan Semiconductor. Has been doing it. So yeah, Micron, if it goes down, all right, if I'm looking for support on Micron, I could see support in the $56 range, right at $56, and we're a little under 59 right now. So again, going down, yeah, it can lose another 6%, all right, before it bottoms. But if that happens, then you're going to see Apple lose 6%, and instead of 150 being support, 140 will be support. And if you see that in SPY, instead of being 390 being support or 389 or 388, you're going to see 385. So keep all these numbers in mind. Again, if you want to be a bear, you don't hop into a position at market open. You say, I want to be bearish. You wait for some type of spike. You buy your position. You have your strategy knowing exactly when you want to exit, whether it's a single day trade or whether you plan on holding for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. All right. So see any other stocks questions you guys have? If not, I might mention a couple of stocks and then we'll go from there. No? Okay, excellent. Sweet. All right, so a couple stocks that I just wanted to mention. No, I don't want to play with that. Yang, I mentioned the other day. Again, I can't really mention Yang because it's already spiked. I mentioned Yang the other day at 1571. It's at $18. The Yang is the opposite ETF of whatever China's doing. China goes up, Yang goes down, Yang goes up, China goes down. I thought China was going to go down, and it has, because the Yang's gone up from $15.71. It's past what, $18 and $18.30 this morning. Okay, there's not heavy volume, and option contracts on the Yang usually have a bid and ask that's $25 apart. Meaning the bid will be $1.25, the ask will be $1.50. You generally got to go right in between. So when you start out a position, you're generally down a few percent. So there are other contracts like that. There's not high volume in the Yang either. So other companies that I wanted to mention are more speculative plays, like a Roblox, like a PayPal, like a Twilio, like a Square, like a Rivian, like a Coinbase, like an Upstart. Now you saw what happened. We'll just use Upstart or Affirm for an example, right? Affirm was at $15, spiked back up to $19. 2 days later, it's back at $16. Where can Affirm go? It could go back to $13. So there could be a major move in these spec plays. More spec plays are like PayPal, Net. No, I wouldn't put Dash. Rivian's more there. What else do I have here? Okay, AMC the other day. Remember AMC went all the way up to $8 and change? And I told people volume wasn't crazy good. And if the market struggles, AMC will come right back down to $7. Right now it's $7.30. Again, AMC has more room to fall if it's going down. I'm looking at the airlines. So I'm waiting on, here's one of my strategies right now. You can see airlines, 4 to 5 inflow days. Before that, the airlines got beat up. So they got beat up, they rebounded, and right now they're in the process of getting beat up. 4 straight outflow days. If today is red, that'll be 5 straight outflow days. I'm not here to call the bottom. That was Delta Airlines. But when I see Delta finally bottoming, I'm going to say, geez, airlines seem okay. And when I look at airlines, I always look at Boeing. Understand what you do is you take the Boeing move. Let's say Boeing goes 4 points down, right? You take that and you multiply it by 7 times. That means it's having a 28-point negative impact on the Dow. There are some stocks that are heavily weighted. So when Boeing has a good day and is up 7 points, you go 7 times 7, 49. Boeing's responsible for 50 points of the Dow. So when the Dow's up 380 points, 50 points of it could come from one stock, Boeing. The same thing on the way down. If Boeing gets beat up and they say something bad and they drop $5, you multiply that by 7 and you're like, okay, 35 points of the Dow and the Dow's down 285. 10% of that is due to Boeing. So there are certain stocks in play that are extremely important to monitor. Again, if you're looking at airlines, you got to keep Boeing at the top of your chart. I wouldn't invest in Boeing. I would look at airline plays, but you have to see it turn around. Again, 4 straight outflow days for airlines, but that's one strategy I'm looking at. Let me just see if I can find you guys another strategy. Okay, interesting. Material plays, okay? Something like AA, X, which is US Steel, CLF, which is Cleveland Cliffs, as material plays, and they're still buying them. So material plays look like they could potentially break out. Again, you would need the market to stabilize. If the market stabilizes and there's a bull type run, company like Cleveland Cliffs or Alcoa or US Steel could literally go up 20% between now and the end of the year. So again, that's not an option play for today. When you look at US Steel, Cleveland Cliffs, Alcoa, there's not crazy volume on those options. So if I buy an option in a material play, I will go up to like January. We're sitting in November now. So I'd give myself 2 months to be correct. If I think Cleveland Cliffs could potentially go from $15 to $20 and move 33% higher, I want to go out 2 months. Let me just see if I have any other plays. Again, watching Microsoft, it's bottom. The same way I mentioned Apple, 150, 145, 140. Microsoft has the same, all right? Microsoft was as high as 264 the other day, but 230 or 228 seems like a baseline for me. So that's still another $10. So if Microsoft was to fall another $10, that'd be 5%. So again, if the SPY goes to 385, Microsoft goes to 230, okay? And we spoke about those other stocks where they could potentially go. There is some sort of gap to fill from the CPI numbers, which came out on Wednesday, and the market spiked up. What is the gap? It's consolidation. We jumped up from 373 to 399 on the SPY, 26 points in 2 days. I mentioned how strong that was and that we would likely consolidate. It didn't happen necessarily Monday. I was waiting for it to happen on Monday and either bounce higher or bounce lower. Didn't quite happen. We just sat in that same level, 399, 393, 400, 394, 402, 394, 397 yesterday, 394 on the low side. Narrow range, right? 3.5 points. So it's ready to do one of two things, break higher or break lower. Based on futures, we're breaking lower. Again, I'm looking to see if there's support in the 389 level to 390 level of the SPY. If there is, we'll see a quick dip and open. People will say, okay, it's oversold. We closed at 395. It's opening at 389. We're down 2 full percent like that during the day. So they're either going to say it's a buying opportunity or it's a selling opportunity. I don't want to get caught in the whirlpool and get sucked down to 385 on the SPY, a whole nother percent. So yes, even when we open that. So again, that's what I'm watching it open. I'm watching to see the support levels. I'm watching to see the resistance levels. Again, 393 and change where we were 2 days ago. Yesterday, we went to 394 and change. So again, that's a main level. If we start going up in the market, I'm looking for that to be resistance. If it breaks through, then you're looking at 397. Bear case scenario, 385 on the downside. It would have to be an awfully bad day to see that. I've got to get over to Discord, and then we got to get our planning strategies there. Limited time. Oh, yeah. If you want, and if you're not on Moomoo, the platform, they even up their ante a little better. We should have a link below, okay? You join. Here are two things you could do. You deposit $100. You use our link below. You get a $10 coupon and 5 free stocks. So you're probably going to get a 40% return without even making a single trade. Again, that's for newer investors, $100. Then they had a promotion where if you deposit $2,000, they slice that in half. If you deposit $1,000 into a new Moomoo account, right? You open up, you get $10 free coupon, link below, and you get 15 free stocks. So your return will probably be close to $100, which is 10%. So you deposit $1,000, you make 10% without doing anything. Literally, I would just sit there for 20 days. If you deposit $100, which is more likely, all right, that's an easier thing to do. You're going to get the $10 coupon, 5 free stocks. They're worth about $30 when you add them up. Again, one of my friends got a share of Apple. Another one got coins. So there are better opportunities, but I don't want to tell you something that's not going to happen. You're going to get 40% return. I made a YouTube video about it. It's a no-brainer. So with that said, again, SPY ranges. If we break support of the 394, we're going under. So next range is 389.50. Under that, 385. Let's have a great day. I'll see you guys later.